Welcome to YouTube. Today we're going to be reacting to When Day Breaks Unlondon. This is my part 2 of my exploring the When Day Breaks series. So far, it has been some of the most heartbreaking things that I've seen so far. It's like, damn, I feel bad for the humans here. Like, they do not deserve this at all. They don't deserve any of this. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm very excited to see where this story goes.
Good day everyone and welcome back to SCP Illustrated,
Entry
Log 93. Today is an exciting day. We are going to be revisiting an old SCP-001 entry, namely When Day Breaks. But this time, we're taking the story to Unlondon in an original custom story written for me by Dr. Sumerian. He did an outstanding job with this story, so please go and check out his channel for loads more SCP content, including tips on how to write better, SCP discussions and read-throughs of his own entries. Now, this is an Apollyon class SCP, and this video does contain strong language, violence, sustained threat, and some sad, sort of emotional scenes.
I'm
without any
expecting
further
it.
ado, let's get into this.
Especially after the last one, like, you know, it's just death, destruction, and sadness. Also, Unlondon. I never heard of Unlondon.
The following data release has been authorized by the following council members and administration staff.
Mom, Dad, Ari, I'm sorry.
Right, this from last one. Oh my god. This might be the administrator. Wow. Look at all these sites. Site 46. Oh, that's the one we just heard, right? So Site 11. Ooh, Site 17 has a breach, though. Site 21, Site 27, 59. Okay, we got a couple bastions. Where's Site 19? 19's offline. Isn't that where the administrator was at? Oh, shit. I think the administrator died. Oh no, this is the administrator. Oh, okay, so he's still alive somewhere.
Access audio file recording 1. My name is Jacob Hawkes. Dr. Oliver told us that recording our thoughts could keep us from going crazy down here in the dark. I'm neither bored nor scared enough to worry about that, but orders are orders.
Okay.
On the surface, I was a containment specialist. I spent most days either here in London or the primary British containment site in Kent. I work with Kira North, the site's current security head. I wouldn't call us partners, but we do good work together. Every day we find something new to study. Last month we noticed that you can grow plants down here. Now, how a plant can undergo photosynthesis without the photo part is beyond me, but we've got a growing little farm going near the Hyde Park base. They don't grow very fast, mind you, but they do grow. Considering this place is supposed to replicate London, it actually makes some sense. Even the most urban cities have plants and parks. As long as we try to keep a base down here though, I'm gonna have work. God, can you imagine doing this for the rest of your life?
I mean...
The Bobbies are a damned menace.
Oh.
Constantly harrying the researchers. Sign up for the Foundation, they said. Fight humanoid abominations for the good of mankind, they said. They were surprisingly honest in the brochure. One thing has begun to worry me though. We lost contact with the outside this morning. Of course, that's not the first time it's happened, but usually by midday we get a check-in from above ground station. Nothing so far today. I'm sure it's nothing, but we're supposed to talk about the stuff that bothers us on this thing, so here I am.
Is there like a site built upon the
On top of
entrance
it
to this
all,
place?
there's a marked uneasiness among the staff.
I'm assuming there's a site built on top of the entrance to this place, which would make it a lot more safer, but if a breach happened, then yeah, y'all be fucked. I don't even know how this place works though. It's just London, but like, Okay. I definitely should have. There's gonna be a lot of SCPs and stuff like here that I won't know about or really know the lore about.
Off. There hasn't been an attack by the Bobbies all day, which is even weirder than losing contact with the surface.
What do you mean the Bobbies?
Elise said she thinks something went wrong groundside. An XK maybe. She's always freaking out over little things, but I ordered her not to say that to anyone else. It made me worried, and we don't need that spreading to everyone else. She pouted a little when I gave her the order, but she'll get over it. I still convinced Kira, though, that we needed to send a patrol topside to check out the substation and figure out what's going on. It's likely nothing, but we can't take any chances. That's all. You know, I actually do feel a little better. Alert. Transmission received from Site 19.
Oh?
This message will repeat. This is a general alert from Site 19 and the O5 Council. All Foundation personnel are to shelter in place. Direct exposure to sunlight is to be avoided at all costs. Under no circumstances are communications with SCP-001 entities to be initiated. We know they're trying to contact you. It doesn't matter. They're all dead. Do not respond. Do not acquiesce to any of their requests. All Foundation personnel should revise new evacuation plans. Site 19 is no longer secure due to several security lapses. The off-world colonization project is currently on hold until the site is resecured. Learn from our mistakes, but don't come here yet. Shit, it's an event. Open fire!
Access audio file recording 2. Dr. Oliver spread her brains across her office wall with a bullet this morning. You'd have thought that the bosses would have changed their minds about the whole solo therapy thing, but apparently it's still in the rules. Turns out, I had the dumb luck of being in Unlondon when the sun went wrong. There's no confusion about what is happening, just the whys. If you spend any amount of time in the sunlight, you start to melt. Spend long enough, and there's no turning back. God, that really is the new normal. All the people on the radio say the same thing. Nothing's wrong. Come out and see the sun. James's wife came on the radio today, begged him to come up. We had to hold him back, but I don't think it matters anymore. I watched half my team go out last night and melt in the moonlight. This morning they came back and asked us to let them in. I wouldn't be surprised if James ate a bullet before the dates.
Oh, damn. This is a dark future.
The welcome message. I gotta go. Something's coming down the stairs.
My fellow citizens, if you're hearing this, then the world as we knew it has finished. The sun has broken, the ground heaves with the tramp of terrible feet, and all the horror and madness have broken free to exact their vengeance on the world of men. Those who sought to contain it are killed or scattered. We soon learn that to attempt to fight these creatures is almost invariably to face one's death. Billions have been transformed into monstrous abominations, and there was nothing we could do to stop them. Evil has raised its bloody flag upon all nations of the world and crowed its unholy victory to the broken sun. Yes, this is the end. But there is a new hope. Welcome to Unlondon, a city of the survivors, a city of the free. Together, fellow citizen, we will wait and prepare for the new beginning, the grand new world that is soon to come. Let the world above burn, we will endure. Let the monsters have their world, we will prepare.
If I were just to guess, I'm assuming London is some sort of pocket dimension where it's like a replica of London. With those, what are they called? They call them bobbies? Those police in like rags is what I'm assuming what's happening.
And let the ground tremble with a new Armageddon as evil consumes itself. For I tell you, citizen, upon the day of the ruination of man, their insatiable appetites will turn them against one another in their endless lust for death. We will wait. And I tell you, citizen, that there will be a new dawn, and you will emerge from Unlondon, blinking in the light of an uncorrupted sun, as our children play and laugh in the bones of horrors long dead. And we will walk, hand in hand to the sea, our faces skywards as that rising sun ushers in the new age of man. And you will gather, citizen,
I don't think the guns do much. I think fire is the only option.
Unlondon from its rest, and it shall burst, phoenix-like from the ashes of the old. And on that day, citizen, There shall be a new order as we raise our flag over the entire world. I welcome you to Unlondon, the last city and the first.
Yo, that's actually a pretty hard speech.
Access audio file recording 3.
James, it's Amelia. I'm not sick
Oh
anymore.
my
I was at the
god.
doctor's office when the light changed us all. Now there's no sickness. I don't know if you can hear me, but you should come upstairs. It's so beautiful here. There's no more hunger, no more war, no more suffering. We all are linked together in harmony, in peace. Your mother is here.
It's gotta fuck
All
you
of
with
us are
you
waiting for you,
so
James.
much. This is gotta fuck with you so much. I'm not gonna
Remember
lie.
when you proposed? The sunset beach in Botany Bay. The whole world was on pause while you got down on one knee and told me you loved me. You told me you didn't want to live without me, James. Were you lying? James, we miss you so much. The doctor said it was going to be a little boy. Come
Oh,
back to us,
fuck
James.
no. This gotta fuck.
It's so beautiful here.
Damn, James. James, bro. James, don't listen to
Access
this.
audio
Don't listen
file
to this,
recording
James.
4.
You're gonna be cooked.
Well, shut up then. Because if we don't record something, no one's going to know what the fuck happened. Look, I'm doing this. Keep an eye out and don't let them see you.
James?
We lost. Hard. After the attack on the entryway, we fell back to the Hyde Park tent city. It was a beautiful little community of the stuffiest men and women you'd ever met. Supplies would have lasted us a year or two at least, and by then we'd hoped to scrounge some sunlights from above ground for the carrot and potato seeds. Before things went tits up, for a second time anyway. We all got about 4 hours of sleep before we woke up screaming, all of us. I remember dreaming about this giant eye looking at me across an endless horizon. It was angry, disappointed. It was so hot. I was trying to breathe and it burned my lungs. Suddenly my clothes caught on fire. I didn't die or even pass out. My skin started to bubble and melt and the eye looked satisfied. And that's when I noticed
Wow.
the thing had eyebrows. How I missed that before, I don't know, but then it was a face. And then a hand came at me from across the horizon and a flock of pigeons came from behind me and let out this
Is it
this
a
terrible
god?
scream. They attacked the hand, pecking at it until it was nothing but bone, but it still kept coming. It scooped up the puddle that was me and brought me to its mouth. And then I woke up. I think the city was trying to warn us. I don't know how this place works, but those stupid pigeon eye things were going crazy in the air above us. They could see it coming even though we couldn't. The men we lost last night knew everything about our defences, and there's a flood of flesh pouring down the stairs now, spreading its way across the city.
Right, that would make sense. If we could get the memories and everything, it would get the memories of the people that know it, and they would know how to breach the defenses. Oh my god. Oh, you guys are screwed.
I don't know how many people made it out of Hyde Park, but it wasn't many. James's leg's a mess, and Elise is out of breath. The only one keeping things together is Kira, and she kind of wants to leave the other two behind. I told her we needed to record another message, and she gave me a look like I was going crazy. Maybe I am. But I'm not leaving Elise behind, and if we kept running, those things would have gotten her. I don't know what we can do for James, but we're trying. The bleeding stopped at least. When the attack came, our perimeter defences didn't trigger, but thankfully we were already awake. We opened fire, but I'm not sure what we thought was going to be accomplished by shooting a giant wave of flesh. It rolled over everything and everyone who didn't run.
Right, it makes
Kira
sense.
thinks if we could burn it, we could do some damage, but
Yeah.
where the fuck are we going to get fuel down here? The only positive to all of this is that the bobbies were fighting on our side. Fat lot of good they did. I thought we were dead, but the speaker crackled to life, and that same damn voice as always told us we could find refuge in Parliament. So we're going there now.
Shit. Get James, we've got to move.
I hope this isn't the end of our story.
I hope so too.
Access audio file recording 5.
You got me hooked.
This city was meant to be a shining beacon in the dark against the fall of the world of men. You mock it. You destroy all that lives and turn it into more of yourself. I give you this one warning. Go back to your corrupted son. There is nothing to be found here but darkness, and your light has no power here. Burn and answer for your crimes, abominations. I cast you into perdition's flame.
Ooh, they have a bomb?
Access audio file recording 6. We had to leave James behind. I think he knew he was going to die. Kira offered to blow his brains out so he wouldn't get taken, but he said he wanted to see his family. I don't know what to make of that, but I hope he's happy now. Kira, Elise and I made our way to Westminster. I'd never seen so many bobbies
Wow, look at the proper coppers here.
in one place before. They parted just enough for us to make it to the Parliament building. A few days ago I'd have been terrified, but it felt comforting. Strange days indeed. Parliament was empty, except for an army of Unlondon's monster guards. Most of them guarded the door and a few guided us through the maze inside the building. If they weren't there, I swear we'd never have found our way. We came out in a room with a tank at the centre, large enough to hold a person, but it was empty. Just a slick of liquid along the floor that led to another open door. The bobbies can't talk, so they just motioned to the door with their hands. It was a bit comical to me. I mean, what are we going to do? Run back outside? There was a set of stairs going down. We could hear the door close behind us, and then we heard a loud crash. We arrived at the bottom of the stairs on a sandy beach. There was a little wooden platform with a small steam-powered ship, barely visible in the dark, attached to it with a rope. We could see Unlondon looming above us, but there was no other way back, except back up the stairs that we'd fled through. There was a mooring for a second boat, but it was long gone. Aerial surveillance of this area last month didn't see the boats, and Kira and I have no idea where they've come from.
Don't question it, just be appreciative.
When someone throws you a life vest, you take it.
Yeah.
Not quibble over where it came from.
Exactly.
We knew there was no other way out, so we climbed aboard. Once we were in the water and a decent distance away, something burst at the centre of the city. The flames, they burn bright and white. The flesh is sizzling and screaming. The whole city is dying and the monsters with it. If this river is an approximation of the Thames, we should reach open water soon. I honestly think the ship knows where it's going somehow. We barely have to steer at all. Elise found a note in the engine room. It said, "Gather your friends, gather your things, and gather your light. The path to Undublin is dark but ends, and if you can make it, I'll save you a pint."
That's a good note.
I'm looking forward to taking them up on that.
Yeah, I could use this. They could probably use some alcohol in the end of the world. No, don't tell me. Ah, no! I want to react to more. Oh, this stuff is so good. I'm hooked. Okay. Is this it? Is it? All right, we're gonna.
And that concludes this entry into the When Daybreak story.
We're gonna just jump into the next one.
Hey everybody, real quick before we begin, my mate George has just published his first book. It's a 1902 Western fantasy set in the USA
ago. That's kind of crazy. 4 years ago is a very long time.
The end of the last Civil War. President Roosevelt offers to... Good day everyone and welcome back to SCP Illustrated, entry log 110. I know it's been a while, but here I am, and today we are exploring the When Daybreak storyline again, this time inside the Infinite IKEA. I would like to extend my thanks to Dr. Sumerian for writing this with me. As by now you should know that this is an Apollyon level SCP, and this video does contain scenes of sustained threat, strong language, and strong violence.
Right.
And without further ado, let's begin. The following data release has been authorized by the following council members and administration staff.
So they're still there. At least some of them are still there. Okay, so they still have access to certain things, so it's not like we don't have any like unfounded things, but like I find certain. Right, not yet. Can we start the site? Experiment still on schedule. Simulations affirmative. Anything else? One minor addition concerns the 308. Hardy person concerned. Okay, okay. Interesting to say the least.
There are three things that we humans are capable of that raise them above every other species in the animal kingdom.
Adapted.
One is running.
Okay.
There are faster sprinters, but over long distances we stand above the rest. It doesn't matter if you're crossing an African savanna to look for your next meal, if you're running up the street to make it to your job on time, or if you're stuck in an infinite IKEA trying to find a good vantage point to watch a battle. Running is our thing. The other thing is really the core of the battle happening here. Humans are natural throwers. Other apes can do it, even some monkeys can do it. But when it comes to throwing with both power and accuracy, there is no comparison. Be it a long stick with a rock on the end, a baseball, or a sharpened piece of cherry wood pulled from a box labelled Bjorksnas. This piece of cherry wood was thrown by Master Thompson of the Home Decor clan. Its purpose is to find the heart of Lord Pillman of the food court. Pillman has already thrown a spear as well. This one is stained oak. They pass each other in flight and both find their mark. The last warriors standing in this bloody battle fall at the same time. Master Thompson clutches the spear that's lodged itself just below his heart.
What's happening?
He's already drowning in blood as his lungs fill with it. Pillman lost consciousness when the other spear passed through his neck, the loss of blood pressure being just a bit too much. And the man perched high above the battle, Jamal of the Customer Service Kingdom, took notes in his journal.
Customer Service Food Court and
He was
what?
a neutral observer. His job was to report back what had happened here. The winner between the Home Decor and the Food Court clan would gain access to the newly discovered and fully functional bathrooms 2 hours over. Jamal stood up to survey the scene. There were no winners here. Everyone lay dead or dying.
What are we doing in an IKEA?
But then something happened. Something that had never happened before. The intercom system, long thought a vestigial relic of a bygone age, crackled to life.
Clean up on aisle 34A-029B.
Jamal's eyes went wide. That wasn't anywhere near here. It was right next to the customer service desk. You'll recall I mentioned that there were three things humans are capable of that raise us above every other species. We run, we throw, and we're storytellers. Regardless of what happened next, Jamal had a story
Saying
to tell.
stuff? What do you mean? The world's ending. The sun
The customer
kills you.
service
What are we
kingdom
doing
was
in
the
a...
most powerful group in this area.
Huh?
They had gained that power
What's
by being
this?
neutral and avoiding conflict.
Why is... What?
Everyone else thought the best
Why
way
is there
to get big was to
civilizations
fight
inside
each
an
other,
IKEA?
claim territory,
And how is it 2
be
hours...
bastards. Really, it was about remaining at peace long enough to grow. Several dozen men and women now called the customer service desk home. More than enough to be any opposing force. Opposing factions would come here to pay tribute to the king. They'd ask to see the manager, and those manning the desk would go into the back and ask. He never came out. The legend was that he waited for one who was worthy to join him on the golden couch that he called his throne.
What is this?
No one outside of the kingdom had ever seen him in person. Of course, the truth was there was no king. The customer service kingdom was little more than a gang, and everyone was more or less equal. When someone asked to see the manager, they'd just go in the back, have a drink and a snack in the fully functional employee break room, and then come out and say how sorry they were that the Sofa King wasn't seeing anyone today. The inside of the break room was a wonder to behold. Snack machines that never ran out, a microwave, a sink for fresh water, employee bathrooms that never clogged, a coffee machine,
I'm assuming
and an
a
emergency
pocket
fire
dimension
exit that
IKEA?
wouldn't open.
That's...
More importantly, it had a door that
kind of
locked.
like on
They
London.
could sleep in relative peace every night. It was a paradise for them. Jamal reached the last end cap before home, braced himself, and peeked around it. The yellow shirts and blue pants of the IKEA employees were the first things he saw. They were swarming. Why they were attacking during the day though, he didn't know or understand. The IKEA employees were attacking some still moving figures on the ground. At first he imagined it was his own people, but it was something else. Jamal was used to seeing and avoiding the IKEA employees. They were misshapen, half-human monsters of flesh. But here on the ground were more monsters. These with no clothing at all. The IKEA employees kept hitting them, but they weren't bleeding and they didn't die. The employees continued the beating in silence. Whatever had happened here, the other members of the kingdom were nowhere to be seen. He was about to turn and run when a massive hairy hand settled on his shoulder. The man who owned it spoke in a hushed whisper.
Come with me if you want to live.
Hey, voice acting.
The man let out a low chuckle.
I've always wanted to say that. But seriously, you'll die if you stay here.
The two men silently ran away. The two men had managed to find an aisle that was currently free of staff. The creatures were still milling about somewhere nearby, shuffling across the floor in squeaky, poorly shaped shoes. But for the moment they were alone. Sonny, the hairy-handed man, stopped and crouched down.
What the fuck happened?
It all started with the door. We were all waiting for you to get back. Most of us were inside the break room, relaxing, eating, or resting. Starla noticed it first. We have no idea how long it was like that, but the emergency exit had swung open. The wind was... God, it felt so good.
Oh,
And I
so
could
they're
see the sunlight
trapped.
outside.
They're
Starla
trapped
stood
in
up
this IKEA and they can't find the exit. And then there was an exit, but they couldn't get it open. And when they got it open, they walked outside. But the sun turned them into monsters.
Most of us were still stunned, and she went outside. At first it was... God, it was beautiful. Seeing her there, standing in the sunlight, watching the wind blow through her hair. Then she turned to look back at us, and her face was melting.
What do you mean, melting?
I don't know. She was melting. First her face, then the rest of her. Thomas ran out to help, but he started to melt too, and I closed the damn door.
Jesus.
We were still trying to figure out what to do an hour later when there was this dull thump on the door. I could hear Starla and Thomas on the other side. They were begging us to come out. To
They
join
broke
them in
through the
sun.
exit. Oh my
They pushed one of the
god.
vending machines in front of the door and the rest of us scattered. It didn't stop. They kept knocking, pleading with us. And then they started to pound. The door started to creak, the vending machine moved. We tried to hold it shut, but all of us together couldn't do it. They were screaming at us, told us to let them in. Then I don't know what to call it, but a long, skinny arm reached into the crack and grabbed Misha. She got dragged out screaming, and the rest of us ran. I heard the door open up behind us, and I didn't see anyone else make it out.
That's a hell of a story.
Sonny nodded and, for the first time since Jamal had known the man, started to cry.
Not the time for crying. We got IKEA to explore.
The two did their best to find a place out of reach of the monsters in IKEA uniforms that roamed the store and tried to remain as quiet as possible. Their current location was atop several boxes of painted black desks. Jamal hazarded that most of what was inside wouldn't have been very useful.
It's either an extremely large pocket world that just happens to be all IKEA. It's just an ever expanding mass of IKEA.
Useful as weapons, but then he noticed several metal poles
It's kinda
as part
funny.
of the design. The two of them opened a box and extracted the pieces. While they waited, Sonny took a moment to attach handles to the drawer fronts, which were just large enough to act as a shield of sorts. Jamal took the metal poles from the design and began to sharpen them into spears. They were a bit shorter than he was used to, but they'd still work if he needed to beat someone to death. The two men were just finishing their work when they looked down at the aisle beneath them. The employees were stood there, just staring up at them with blank, featureless faces. The two men were about to run again when the next aisle crashed to the ground. A wave of other monsters came down and screeched. The IKEA employees leapt forward to attack and were quickly joined by more. The intercom crackled to life once again.
Clean up on aisle 304-219A.
Jamal and Sonny watched as more employees began flooding towards their location. The wave of new monsters washed over the few employees they were fighting and knocked hard into the boxes they were standing atop. The two men jumped down and began to run.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that baby from Resident Evil 7, I'm not gonna
At
lie.
first it went well. Then the two men ran into another battle between the melted monsters and the employees. The employees ignored them as they continued the beating, but the melted monsters were reaching out with rippling flesh tendrils. The two of them defended themselves with the makeshift weapons at their sides. The creature that reached for Jamal was about a foot taller than him and covered in bleeding red marks. It had already seen some fighting, it seemed. A long tendril reached out with alarming speed and Jamal deflected it off the draw shield they'd made. The creature
Nice,
screeched at him
parried.
in an echoing voice and continued the onslaught. A heavy whack caught him in the shoulder and he went flying into a displayed dining set that turned to splinters beneath him.
Oof, get up,
Jamal
bud.
scrambled to get up just as the creature was upon him. Tendrils fired out from its abdomen that shot towards Jamal. He slashed at one with the point of his spear and then spun in place, stabbing the thing where he figured its head would be. The creature's other tendril caught Jamal along the arm and pushed him to the ground.
No, Jamal.
The thing pulled the spear and shield out of Jamal's hands and then lifted him into the air above it. Jamal thrashed, but he couldn't break free. Half a dozen employees then descended upon the creature and began to beat on it with their fists. At first, its grip on Jamal loosened, then it relaxed completely. Jamal tumbled out of its grip and he slammed into the tiled floor.
Get out of there, get out of there. Run, correle, run,
The
run.
creature he'd been fighting grabbed one of the employees instead and moved away from the group. Jamal had just enough time to panic as the faceless
They're helping
heads
them
of the
too.
employees surrounded him. Then, one offered him a hand. He wasn't sure what to do, but Jamal took the hand anyway. It helped him to his feet while another handed him his spear and shield. A stunned Jamal stood there as the employees took off in the direction the monster was fleeing. He looked around for his friend.
Customer's
Sonny
always
was laying
right.
under a collapsed shelf a few feet away,
Oh
a pool
no.
of blood gathering beneath him. Jamal watched the rest of the IKEA employees begin to swarm towards his old home, the customer service desk. The employees were looking to finish things, it seemed. He raised the spear above his head, yelled for the Sofa King, and ran towards the fray. It was still a lie, of course, but a comforting one.
He ran into the danger? Yo, what happened with
The
him
fray,
though?
it turned out, was dying down considerably. Jamal stood there just on the other side of the help desk looking around.
Yo,
for
what a
anyone he
pose though.
recognized.
Look at that, look at that. He's about to give that shit a haymaker. But I'll make you go like fucking, what's that, a flashbang effect on your face. It looks like the Markiplier punch pose. I'm not gonna lie. It's... You know what? Give me a second. I'm actually gonna take this as a thumbnail. It's... There you go. I'm taking that as a thumbnail.
A few familiar faces were there with him, surveying the broken remains of the customer service kingdom. The help desk had been retaken and the IKEA employees were milling about now aimlessly. The few melted monsters left from outside were being dragged behind the desk and into the break room. Jamal began to relax just a bit, then a low, deep rumble shook the ground beneath them. The employees stopped and turned just as a wave of flesh came pouring out from behind the help desk. Jamal ran forward and began to stab it with his spear. As he engaged in battle, he saw other members of his own crew fighting as well. He smiled, happy to know some had made it out after all.
Oh, okay,
The
so now
employees had
everybody
joined
died.
them and were beating on the wall of flesh too. The fleshy mass extended several tendrils which grabbed at everyone they could reach, both employee and human. Jamal was lifted by his ankle high into the air. He swung his short spear helplessly as he dangled in front of it. Then, all at once, the flesh wall began to retract back into the break room.
Oh, it's pulling them all
Several
outside.
of his fellow humans and a few employees went with it. He was dragged across the carpeted floor, past the vending machines and out of the emergency exit with amazing speed. It was a moonless night outside, accompanied by a soft breeze. He could hear the flesh monster that held him humming in the darkness. And then the night was lit by fire. He barely had time to react as a helicopter came roaring from behind the IKEA
Oh,
with flamethrowers
shit.
blasting. Whoever was inside had impeccable aim, burning the flesh monster and avoiding the captives. The flesh wall screeched in pain and released them.
But isn't the moon gonna still
Employees
get them?
scrambled to their feet and ran back into the IKEA while the humans lay stunned on the ground. Jamal and several other humans had half a mind to run into the IKEA themselves, but when they looked, the emergency exit was just a plain brick wall. While they processed this, the flesh wall retreated into the nearby woods, screeching all the way. The helicopter landed nearby and men in black armor began to quickly gather them together. He didn't know who these people were or what the symbol on their armor meant, but he imagined they had quite a story to tell.
Okay. What's the next one? When Day Breaks, the Voices. 179. 101. Wow, this is a whole ass series. We got a lot of
And that
cover.
concludes this entry into When Day Breaks IKEA. The next instalment will be coming out later this year. Massive thanks firstly to Dr. Sumerian for writing this up with me.
Alright. YouTube, that's gonna be all for me today. Thank you very much everybody for showing up, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch because I do stream this live on Twitch. Gotta say my outro. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye, Melosos.